As the new heavens and earth that I make will endure before me, declares the Lord, so will your name and descendants endure. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were broken to pieces at the same time, and became like chaff on the threshing floor in the summer. The wind swept them away without leaving a trace, but the rock that struck the statue became a huge mountain and filled the whole earth. In the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will it be left to another people. It will crush all those kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it itself endures forever. This is the meaning of the vision of the rock cut out of the mountain, but not by human hands, a rock that broke the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold to pieces. Those are just the opening verses for the section of the 1,000 years of peace. The one, as the new heavens endure, so will your name and your descendants endure. That is from Isaiah 66:22, and that speaks not only of Jesus' everlasting kingdom, but of you wise virgins, all you servants of the Lord. You and your descendants will endure forever. And yes, you will still be having families, even with the new regenerated body. The Bible tells us that in many places. But I'll get into that in another video. And I already have too. If you will go back into the videos with eternal partners, you'll see that. And the other verse, as the iron, clay, bronze, silver, gold were broken to pieces by a rock cut out of the mountain, that speaks of Jesus' kingdom. And that is from Daniel 2, verses 24 to 49. So Jesus' kingdom will be created by God, not by human hands, and it will endure forever, and it'll crush every other kingdom and every other king and ruler that has come before it. So Jesus' eternal kingdom will be the 1,000 years of peace, and we have been given the privilege of helping to build it up during the 1,000 years of peace. So those are the opening verses for the 1,000 years of peace. Isaiah 66:22 and Daniel 2, verses 24 to 49. Thank you. Hi folks, this is your friendly neighborhood Walter Shepherd. I'm here to talk about visions that I've had about the 1,000 years of peace. And this one, I've talked about day one before, but while I was on holidays, I did some praying and some meditating, and the Spirit spoke to my heart, and He enhanced, or He added to the visions that I've had about day one. And it's pretty neat, because it actually goes beyond day one, but I will call it day one. But it actually is about the first 10 years of the 1,000 years of peace. As you know, after Armageddon, there's going to be very few people on the planet left. The Bible tells us that the sun is going to burn 7 times brighter than it does now. And I've spoken about this before, how when the sun expands, it's going to send out a shock wave, and that shock wave is going to change the orbits of the planet, of the planets, the first 4 planets. And when the shock wave hits Earth, it's going to shake Earth so violently that everything that we've built is going to crumble down. Everything that we've built right now, before the rapture, before Armageddon, it's all going to be turned into ruins. The Bible tells us that too. And also after the shock wave will come the heat wave from the newly expanded sun, and that heat wave is going to be what's burning up the entire planet. So the entire planet will be reduced to a blackened out cinder. And if you've ever seen a forest fire, and what happens afterwards, it's all black and it's all horrible looking, but it doesn't take long for the new plant life to start growing, and that's basically what I'm going to be talking about right now. I made some notes. Okay, so this is day one of the 1,000 years of peace. The shock wave has just knocked everything down. The fires have just burnt everything, and you wise virgins and those who have been appointed to go out and look for the survivors. There will be about, based on visions that I've had, and the Bible talks about how there's going to be a remnant of people left. There will be very few people on the earth left. after Armageddon and after the earth changes. And so you wise virgins, the wise virgins, along with their angel companions, will be going out searching the entire planet to find the survivors. And for the first 40 days, once we find the survivors and they've been judged and they've been given their positions around the earth where they're going to start growing the human race of natural flesh and blood people that will be guided and ruled by you wise virgins under the command of Jesus. But right away, day 1, day 2, day 3, the first 10 days, the earth is still going to be blackened out. But the earth will be balanced in terms of a temperature. So at nighttime, people won't be, freezing like they are on the earth right now. The nighttime air is going to be well balanced so that people can sleep out in the open and it'll feel like they're covered in a warm blanket. And the days will be well balanced. They won't be too cold, they won't be too hot, they won't be too rainy, or whatever. The Lord is going to reboot the planet, basically. As you know, the Bible says right now, in our day and age before the rapture, the earth is going through birth pains. And once Armageddon has been taken care of and out of the way, the 1,000 years of peace are going to birth a brand new planet that is going to be excellent and it'll look after people. And so the natural people that we will be looking, the survivors of Armageddon, they are still going to need to eat. And since the earth will be blackened out and the new food will take some time to grow, what I believe the Spirit told me is for the first 40 days, the survivors, the natural flesh and blood people, they are going to be eating manna, just like the Israelites did when they wandered in the desert for 40 days or for 40 years. So the angels and we servants of the Lord will take food out of heaven, and we will be feeding those 5,000 for the first 40 days as the food starts to grow on the natural earth. So for the first 40 days they'll be eating manna and other angel foods, whatever else the angels have prepared and whatever else they make up in heaven. We'll find out once we get there. We'll find out after the rapture, as the new plants start to grow. And also, they will need shelter as well. Not so much from heat and cold and stuff like that, but also from the rain too. I mean, it's still going to rain, so they will need to keep dry. And so we're not going to be killing animals for their furs anymore, or for their skins, or stuff like that. The whole food chain will be reset. As you know, the Bible tells us that all the ferocious creatures, the lions, the lions, cheetahs, panthers, all those vicious animals, they're going to be eating grass, like the ox. The lion and the lamb will play together. Snakes will become harmless, the Bible tells us. So, where will they get the material for their tents and lean-tos and whatever else kind of shelters? They will be getting that from heaven as well. God is going to lend them for a time some heavenly material for their tents. They will be a waterproof material. And also, because they're made of heavenly matter, they're going to be programmed so that they will collect a type of solar energy. It's a kind of material that gathers sunlight during the day, and then at nighttime it glows. So they won't need candles or anything inside the tent. It will all be lit from the solar energy it has collected. This kind of new material, or this kind of material that already exists in heaven, but for the survivors of Armageddon, they will get that for a number of days, a number of years, until the resources of the earth start to become plentiful, and they can start making lumber and stuff like that. And also, they will need clothing too. The survivors of Armageddon, the natural people, they will need clothing, because the clothes that they will be wearing will be destroyed, will be burnt. The 1,000 years of peace is not going to contain anything from the sinful world, anything that sinful mankind has made, anything that the Antichrist and his followers, those with the mark of the beast, anything that they have touched, anything that they have created in terms of clothing and whatnot, it's all going to be destroyed. And so this heavenly material will also be used to make clothes for the survivors of Armageddon. So they will be wearing that for about 5 years. This clothing and this tent material will have a 5-year lifespan. So after 5 years, the material is just going to melt away or dissolve as the new earth brings forth the new resources. So the clothing will be made of heavenly material. It'll be waterproof and very durable. The clothing will last for 5 years. And the Lord can do things like that because if you've read, and I'm sure you have, the story of Moses and the Israelites wandering through the desert for 40 years, the Bible tells us that God was able to intervene in the physical material world so that their clothing and their shoes did not wear out for that 40 years. So God is able to do things like that because he's an amazing God, and he created the quantum nature of the universe, all the atoms of all the matter, be it solid, liquid, or gas. So he can do it. He can do whatever he wants with it. If he can make an iron axe head float on water, then he can make clothes durable. But for the survivors of Armageddon, they will be getting a new style of clothing that is not based on sinful mankind's resources. They'll be heavenly material. Let's see, what else? Okay, for the first 2 months or less, it'll take that long for the new plants and the new foods to grow on the earth. So during those first 2 months, people will be eating angel food, manna and whatnot, as the new plants start to grow, as the new fruits and vegetables start to grow. So once they start growing abundantly, people will start to harvest them. They'll start to plant rows and make larger crops to help feed them on whatever planet or whatever part of the planet they're on. And the same goes for the first 5 years. It'll take that long for the new resources to grow, the trees for lumber and the rocks and stuff like that, in order to get the materials for smelting and for creating metals and irons to start making the new tools. And in that meantime, the angels are going to be showing us some of their technology to help us to help us create the new society that we'll be building during the 1,000 years of peace. There'll be angel technology for industrial uses, construction uses, and for mass production. Again, as the planet population grows from the 5,000 over the 1,000 years of peace, population is going to grow into the billions. And so in order to start off society right, the angels are going to be showing us some of their technology. And then we'll be using some of the technologies that are in Heaven's Library. If you remember that video, Heaven's Library contains all the things that mankind, from the time of Adam and Eve up until the rapture, all the things that mankind got right in terms of science and inventions and technology and creating new things. So mankind will still have all that knowledge. All the planners, designers, and builders that are in heaven right now will come back down to the new earth during the 1,000 years of peace, and we will build whole new cities that are based on the mistakes of the cities that we have now. The cities that we have now could be far more efficient, but it takes retro technology. Because they've already been established, it's hard to make them more efficient than they are. But if somebody were to make a brand new city on the earth right now, that city would contain all the best things of the mistakes that we've made. But starting and building a brand new city is a very expensive endeavor, and I don't think it'll ever be done. So we'll have to wait for the 1,000 years of peace when we start making new cities and towns. Okay, so for the first decade of the 1,000 years of peace, that's when we're going to be building up the factories and the roadways. We're going to be marking out the city boundaries, and everything is going to be planned in advance. So the Lord, when it comes time to build a new city in whatever part of the world, He will tell us in advance, okay, the city is going to be so many miles wide, it's going to be so many kilometers long, and it's going to have so many roads. And then we'll start off in the center, and slowly over the years it'll be built up to that point where we'll have skyscrapers and residential buildings and residential housing and suburban areas. And we will know just how big the city is going to be, because the Lord will tell us in advance, okay, the city is going to be 10 square miles, the city is going to be 50 square miles or whatever. And that'll happen during the first decade. We will know exactly where the cities are going to be all over the earth. And in the first century of the 1,000 years of peace, that's when we're going to be starting to building or starting to create and have industries that will create ground vehicles. So we will have vehicles that travel on the ground, vehicles that have wheels, vehicles that float on air or float on magnetism. Then we will have air vehicles as well, flying vehicles here and there. Personally speaking, I want to be on the team that helps build jetpacks. I've always wanted a jetpack. So even though we the regenerated people, we won't need jetpacks to fly. We can just have control over the laws of nature, because that's one of the gifts that the Lord is going to be giving us. So even though that we'll be able to just pick up and fly whenever we want, I would still like to feel the thrust of an engine on your back as you take these hand controls and you fly all over the place with a personal jetpack. So I want to be able to fly with a jetpack as well. So we're creating a lot of technology for the benefit of the people, the flesh and blood people. And also we'll be creating water vehicles during the first century, as well as vehicles that go on top of the water as well as below the water. Submarines and whatnot, all sorts of that. And we'll also be inventing space vehicles as well to fly to the moon, to go out to the asteroid belt in order to bring back the asteroids and use the metals that are in them to help create technology and buildings and to build everything up. And that's about it. So that's life during the first century of the 1,000 years of peace. The first couple of weeks and months, we'll be there to help people, the natural flesh and blood people, to survive and to build up and to feed them, to help shelter them. The Lord's going to give us heavenly material to clothe them and to shelter them, and the angels will be showing us how to prepare the kind of foods that will help them as well for the first few months, until the plants start to grow, until the natural resources start to grow, and that they can start harvesting things on the earth in order to build up society. So that's it for the first century and the 1,000 years of peace. We're just basically establishing a brand new society with a few thousand people that will eventually build up to several billion people by the time we get to the end of the 1,000 years. So that'll be up to you, wise virgins, you who have dedicated your lives to the Lord. Once you get your positions of authority from Jesus, you will be assigned a place somewhere at some time during the 1,000 years of peace to help build up society. As Jesus said, we're going to be with him to help rule and reign on the earth during that time. Okay, that's it. Be blessed wherever you are in internet land and YouTube world. Jesus will be here sooner rather than later, so take care, stay in prayer. We'll see you in Jesus' kingdom somewhere over there, or maybe even somewhere up in the air. Okay, take care. Jesus rules.